Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. This is Achieving Enterprise-Wide Success in Asset Management with Chad Foley right here. And I'm Peter Sherman, and we're both with the City of Raleigh. We work on Cityworks as a large portion of our workday every day. So on the agenda for today is why asset management, why it's important. What is Cityworks? It's one of the asset management applications out there. Raleigh's Cityworks usage. The benefits of having good, accurate asset management and good data within there that you're tracking. And the keys to success. So for why, well, let's say you're leaving for work one day and you're driving down your driveway, and then at the end of the street you see this. This was actually on one of our work orders for a water leak in the Public Utilities Department. And it's pretty serious because something like this could wash away a road fairly quickly if the water is getting under the street and eroding away the dirt. So yeah, that's one of the things we track in Cityworks, and Cityworks is very useful for tracking the work. And so it's important because what if this is the third time this has happened on this pipe or something like that in the past year? Well, then you know, based on that and based on like the age of the pipe in your GIS system, that it's probably time to replace it. Well, ultimately what was the cause was contractor damage. And if you look back at the previous image, you can see, I don't know if you can see the mouse now. There's the mark where the pipe was that the locator put, but the leak is actually down where the forklift is, so it's about 5 feet away. So this is also important because you can use Cityworks to create a work order to say, oh, we need to move this line on the GIS map, and it integrates very seamlessly with our ArcGIS system. But yeah. So what is Cityworks? It's an asset management application by Azteca. They're over in Salt Lake City. It's for tracking work on GIS layers, which they call assets, but basically, you know, any GIS will work, points, lines, or polygons. And it integrates very well with, you can have an ArcGIS server and host it out that way, or you can use ArcGIS Online and pull that in seamlessly into Cityworks.
Or both.
Or both at the same time, yeah. And basically three main ways of doing that are service requests, work orders, and inspections. So service requests are more from callers, citizens, or other departments, and they're a good way to increase collaboration between departments for sending work from one to the other. Work orders to track the actual work that's attached to the GIS asset, such as the water line in the previous example, and also inspections for preventive maintenance. Public Utilities uses these for like a yearly inspection of their water hydrants, and also the Transportation Department uses them for the signalization cabinets that they inspect on a yearly basis. And it also does vertical assets, and by that I mean, let's say you have a building, and that building is a point on your map, but within that building, you're gonna have a related table, and that table would be like your HVAC table, and that would be all the HVAC units tied to that building. That's one solution now, but moving forward, we have some other ways to do that, which we'll get into. So a little bit about the City of Raleigh's background. It began in 2006 with a pilot of Cityworks 4.3 in 2 divisions. And then in 2013, an upgrade to Server 2012 with 2 departments. In 2014, another upgrade to Cityworks version 2013. And also 2 integrations with other software in the city. PeopleSoft is our employee repository, kind of employee data. It has all our labor rates in there. And how that integration works is every night it gets the labor rates for those employees and brings it into Cityworks so that we don't have to enter it manually when adding a new employee, and so that it's also up to date if an employee gets a pay increase. so that we can accurately track the labor cost for a work order. And then also the C-Click-Fix integration. So C-Click-Fix is our citizen relationship management solution. So for that, if a citizen puts in a report for, say, a dead animal on the side of the road in C-Click-Fix, that's one of the work orders that we watch out for. So with that, once it's created in C-Click-Fix, it automatically uses the API to create a work order in Cityworks, and that's already assigned to the employee who's responsible for cleaning that up. And then once that's cleaned up, they close it in Cityworks. It goes right back and closes it in C-Click-Fix and notifies the citizen that it's complete. And then in 2016, another upgrade and also a rapid expansion from basically 2 departments that we had in 2013 to 6 departments across 4 domains. Domains are just a way of dividing up Cityworks kind of into different groups. And then 2017, another upgrade and also a PeopleSoft inventory integration. So PeopleSoft is the system of record for the material at the city. So like in the water line break example, in that case, when they go to the work order and complete the work, they take a pipe out of the storeroom, which is used to track the material, and bring that into Cityworks, and that deducts that pipe from PeopleSoft with all the costs associated with that as well. So just to take a break for a second, how many people are using Cityworks in some form or fashion today? Cool, a lot of you. That's great. And then in 2018, we had another upgrade to 15.2.5. We're actually upgrading to 15.3.3 in 2 days, Saturday. And also upgraded our ArcGIS server to 10.6.1 just to get that up to date. And also added Windows authentication in externalization. So the Windows authentication is just one less password for our users to remember. It's always really important to make the application as easy as you can for your users, and also increase security. And then externalization, just so that they don't have to VPN, which is really important if they're in the field. A lot of the field workers saw that as a barrier to them entering the work. So just some quick counts over the work over the past year. About 40,000 service requests entered from citizens or between departments to collaborate on work. Over 100,000 work orders. These are all attached to at least one GIS asset. So it really helps maintain both our good GIS data, because you can edit the GIS attributes directly within Cityworks. And it's also good so that at really any point in time, a manager or anyone can go and look and see, well, how many hydrants did we put in this past week, or how much did we spend filling potholes over the past year? And because that's all tracked within there, it gives them that cost. And then just some inspection counts, about 37,000. Public utilities uses this pretty heavily. There are a lot of hydrants, and that's the main use there. And also transportation and parks, as a parks inspection. So now I'll turn it over to Chad for a demo.
So I'm glad to see a lot of people using Cityworks. I'm just going to show EURL put into ArcGIS Online, if anybody's done that. It's a fairly simple way to get data out of Cityworks into ArcGIS Online. So let's see if I can make this work. So I'm just going to do a work order search on water hydrants. We're going to do, let's see how many water hydrants we installed in the past 90 days. Oh, sorry. So this is the work order search screen. Like I said, we're just going to do a work order search. How many hydrants did we install in the past 90 days? There's a ton of options here. The search capabilities of Cityworks are incredibly powerful. And then we're going to put this into ArcGIS Online. So if we just search this here, this is our production system, actually. There's 1,564. That's too many. Maybe I didn't limit it by the days. So let's say last 90 days. Does this look familiar to people? All right, 143. So that to me is kind of interesting. I mean, if we're doing hydrant installs, public utilities is interested in that, but maybe other people are interested in that too. Like, is there new neighborhoods going in? Could somebody else in the city want to know that information? So an easy way to share that would be to put it in a ArcGIS Online map. So you could basically save that search, and there's a little service link out to the right, which is basically a web URL that ArcGIS Online can consume. So I'll just copy that link address. Let's go to AGOL. And I'm just going to create a new map. Add layer from web. I'm going to paste that URL in here and click add. And it may take a second, but there's my 143 hydrant installs in the past 90 days. So this symbology is terrible, but you could come in here and change that. You could do some analysis. You could add more data layers and, cross-reference it with other things. But the main thing here is you can share this out. You can share it out publicly. You can share it out just within the city. And what's cool is that if there's another hydrant installed tomorrow morning in this map, as soon as you refresh it, it'll be there. It's live data. It's dynamic. So that service URL is live. Just a simple example. I mean, Cityworks can do a lot of other things that's pretty cool, but you can trigger events with webhooks that will update ArcGIS Online. Let's say you close a work order, you want to update an ArcGIS Online layer. You can configure that. It's very flexible in that way, but that's just kind of a quick example. I'm going to continue on here just for time's sake. So with all this data, we've got 100,000 work orders in 2018. This is the first time we're actually starting to look at our data, and I think our phase we're in now, or what's next and current, is analytics around that data. We've got some Power BI, which is a Microsoft reporting tool, and we've done a lot of reports with that. It's identified some bad data. That was kind of first, like work orders where people aren't adding the cost, or it's identified where people didn't attach an asset. But that's really the benefit we're getting now is we're starting to find value in that data we've got. So some keys to success. We've done a lot of growth in the past few years, onboarding new departments. You're going to need some resources. For the first 10 years, Cityworks really had just kind of one person maintaining it in IT department. It didn't grow. We brought in Peter, myself, another guy, and a manager that kind of brought some clout to it, and it really exploded. It's one of the few systems people actually come to us really wanting access, and versus kind of a ho and hum about it. We do governance. We have a governance document we're happy to share out. We shared it with Asheville. They're kind of use that as a template. Our secret sauce is our power users and our user group. We've given them access to the designer or the admin module they can maintain their own employee permissions. They can create their own work order templates and inspection templates. And that's great for us because that's less that we have to do, right?
Yeah.
And it empowers them. So that's been big. We externalized it outside our network. That was a big step forward, especially for the mobile app. And another success was a lot of the groups we onboarded, we did in a matter of like a week or two, because they already were using maps. They were already using ArcGIS Online. All we had to do was just pull that into Cityworks. So we can, I think that's something that people probably don't utilize enough, that if it's in ArcGIS Online, it can be in Cityworks. They can be the same map. So if you're using Collector to collect points, and people are doing something with, say, Survey 123 or something else, you can pull that same map into Cityworks if somebody wants to use that and do costs against work orders for those points. So as soon as somebody adds a point in Collector, it's in Cityworks. It's the same map. So we had a lot of groups that were using AGOL, and we pulled it into Cityworks, and they started doing more and tracking cost. Number one of all these success keys is relationships. By rolling out Cityworks to these groups, we've created more relationships, but that was really the key. Having somebody like a power user be willing to play ball and embrace it and work with it. We also like to onboard new groups as small as possible at a time. We just pulled the parking meter guys and got them on. They're using the mobile app or a tablet in the field. And that was a really quick one, easy one. So we've just done little small groups one at a time. And over a year or two, it gets large. I think we have about 1,500 users now. Look at your data. Make sure, do the save searches, do some reporting. Is it accurate? Is it helpful? What can you tweak? And we captured a lot of data before we even started looking at it. And we probably could have saved ourselves some headaches just by seeing what we got. And then good partners. We've had a good relationship with Azteca. I feel like if we have a need, they jump to it. I feel like we even get special treatment sometimes. They will put their best guy on our issues. They want us to try new things and test their stuff. We've had a good relationship with them. So I'll put it back to Peter about what's next.
Alrighty. So what's next? We really want to have a good integration with ArcGIS Indoors, or pull that in, because it'd be really nice to get away from doing vertical assets on a table and instead have like a 3D map of that building, and then have like where the HVAC unit is, or where the thermostat is, or the automatic, but like a key fob for the door. They track those too for maintenance. Our facilities group does that a lot. So yeah, that's a really cool technology going forward that we'd like to take advantage of. Real-time integrations, such as with Waze. Chad did a talk on that earlier. And Waze is working on a way that like we can send back to them when the pothole is filled, and then they can notify the Waze user that, hey, this pothole you reported a week ago has been filled. And also emergency management. So one thing that kind of came up after Hurricane Florence was what are some things we could do better with that? So just more collaboration between the departments surrounding that, and more use of storeroom to track like emergency assets that are used during a storm event, such as barricades, and when they should be removed. And also integrating that with an ArcGIS dashboard for that. And then mobile adoption, the base Cityworks desktop is kind of hard for someone who's not too tech savvy to use. It's a little bit complicated looking, but the mobile app is really, really simple. We want to get more groups using that just for the simplicity of use. All right. Any questions? Go ahead.
So do all of your field workers, do they have their own mobile device, or is it strictly the crew chiefs that are entering data?
So the question was, do all the field workers have a mobile device, or is it like the crew chief that only has the device? Yeah, it's a mix.
I'd say mostly it's one device per crew.
Yeah.
But it just depends on the group.
Yeah.
Why do you ask, if you don't mind me asking?
Because it's
Gotcha. Well, we have, so for example, our traffic signal inspectors, they have 6 different crews, and each crew is only 2 people, and those 2 people share a tablet. And that's kind of a common setup. So it's not necessarily the supervisor, it's more just one device per team. But yeah, I can see how that would be a problem. And it's amazing how much activity goes on in the field that we don't know about. So, I mean, I'm not sure I can answer that 100%. It may be a problem that I'm not even aware of. Hey.
Tell us a little bit more about that plan integration with ArcGIS and what's that going to do, I guess, to your back-end data model? What kind of changes are you going to have to make to be able to support?
Yeah.
I guess it's like, what is it, like a building information management?
I think it is, yeah. I don't really know that much about it yet, honestly. We haven't installed it or taken a look at it.
Our Public Utilities Department just purchased ArcGIS indoors, and they've done some models of some, was it like plants and pump stations and things?
Yeah.
So again, we haven't implemented this yet, but in my mind, it's just another map, another set of feature layers we can just pull in, and it's just going to look indoors versus like a aerial view. That's my fantasy, but I think there was quite a bit of work to build those models, though, to build those maps and convert them from like CAD and things.
Yeah, I didn't know how expensive it was to like implement that data model.
Right. Maybe
Or integrate it with your existing database.
Yeah, we were talking about doing a test of. So the guy that waters all the plants in our office, he's retiring. So we're going to do a preventative maintenance inspection and work orders for watering plants for indoors, and do a mock-up of the office indoors with the plant areas. But we don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
How are you guys?
No, go ahead.
How are you guys structured in the city? Like, what department are you guys in? And like, we kind of have little Cityworks islands in different departments. And I think we need like an administrator at the top, but not how do you make that happen?
I was going to show our domains. Do you have one installation of Cityworks?
No.
So I think that's been an important point. If you look here, this is our single installation. We have the different domains here on the top right. I don't know if you can see that. So I think that's helped us with some cross-departmental workflows and things. It's all in the same system, but we're in IT, and we have a power user in each department, and we meet quarterly at our user group meeting, and we try to share ideas. That helps a lot. But so the idea is that if there's an issue or a question in the department, they go to the power user. If they can't figure it out, they'll come to us.
Did you guys start in IT?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, some groups are much more advanced than others. I'll say that.
It does help a lot with both reducing our workload with things such as creating new users, but also the power user has a much better idea of where the new user should go, or any other permission they're editing, or any other thing they're editing. Because if they come to me and say, someone puts in a request saying, hey, I need a new person on this team, make it like so-and-so's an existing user's permissions, I may not know who that existing user is if they don't include that information, but the power user is going to know right away because they know their department. So there's some efficiency gain there.
And we're actually out of time for questions. We're moving on to the next one, so if y'all do have any additional questions, please feel free to come up and get speakers up here.
Yeah, thanks a lot.